Hello and welcome. Today, I'll show you how I recreated the intro from Scrubs.
I can't do this all on my own. No, I know I'm no Superman. I'm no Superman.
The first thing I did was fiddle with my DJI Osmo 4 gimbal. I needed to be able to get a consistent, repeatable camera move. The Osmo can't do this in real time, so I had to do some math with a time lapse. Bear with me, this gets a little complicated. I needed an 8-second video, so I set it up to take a 60-second motion lapse, which would boil down to about 4 seconds once it was complete. This way, when I bring it into After Effects, I can stretch it to be twice as long, which will give me my desired length of 8 seconds. The other challenge is that the Osmo doesn't save the waypoints you input. So to fix this, I used a grid on the screen to line up the same points in the image every time. It doesn't have to be perfect. With the camera figured out, I started doing some research, and by research I mean watching the Scrubs intro over and over.
I can't do this all on my own. No, I know I'm no Superman. I'm no Superman.
I made a chart of who's in the background, middle, and foreground in relation to the other characters. This chart is available for free in the description. I then roped my dad and sister in because
I can't do this all on my own.
my dad was the other character and my sister ran the camera. They helped out a lot even though I was in over my head for most of the project. Knowing that I had 2 actors to work with, myself and my dad, I optimized the chart, picking different outfits to add visual interest. The chart then allowed me to see what shots I needed to take to get the same number of transitions as in the real Scrubs intro. The final video is comprised of around 14 different shots, and you can divide those 14 into 2 different shot types. The first is of one person coming down the stairs and then walking out of frame, and the second is one person picking up the piece of paper and handing it to the other person. Your shot may be a little different depending on your set you're using. I was just using my basement, so the stairs and then walking out of frame was a good motion for the first person in the foreground. This whole thing is easier to understand if you can look at the chart, which again is in the description and it's free. Something else we had to figure out was the timing. Since it was a time lapse, we had to move slower than we would in real life. So we figured out that from the beginning of the shot to the appearance of the second person should take 10 seconds. And then from the appearance of the second person to the end should take 50. We then set up a laptop with a timer that was started at the same time as the camera, and we used this to time our movements. Once we captured all the shots we needed, I headed into After Effects to start editing. You don't really need After Effects for this. You could probably use Premiere or CapCut, but I'm most comfortable in After Effects, so I use that. I started importing all the shots of the first person, and then I stretched them in time to 200%. So then to make it smoother, I turned on frame blending for the composition, and then hit the layer frame blending switch twice. And if you hit it twice, you get the second option, which looks like a little arrow. After that, the next step is to fade the shots out in sequence so the people transition back and forth. I eyeballed the timing. I didn't do it exactly, but I think they lasted for about 2 frames, and then they started fading out, which took another 2 frames. After that, I moved to the second half, and I followed the same process, except this time I had a lot more time to cover, so the ratio of amount of time to number of shots was a little bit different. A good rule of thumb for a smoother shot is when you transition from one actor to another, so like from me to my dad, transition that slower, make the transition take longer than when you transition from, say, me to me in a different costume. We were able to repeat our performances fairly well, but it didn't look exactly the same between me and my dad. Once all that was done, I had my shot. It turned out way better than I thought it would. I hope this video offered some insight into how you can make complicated shots with simple equipment. You can pretty much figure out anything if you just take some time and think about it. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. We're almost to 100 subscribers, and when we get to 100 subscribers, I have a fun special video planned. So I will see you in the next video.